Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Tahir Khan, I'm better known as Striker. And what I'd like to do today is do a quick recap on pound and probably a few other pairs. Before I go any further, I do want to disclose that I have been totally inactive into the markets for the last 2-3 weeks. A little bit of interest in the euro that we went in selling 53.10 all the way down to sub 5,000. So apart from that, looking into the pound right now and probably have a little bit of interest and see how it goes in. But let me share my point in. What I'm looking at is a pound dollar on the daily, and I'm looking at a trend line that's coming in pretty smoothly. It's just more of a trajectory motion out here where I'm looking where the drop that has commenced can go up to and if it can bounce off from there or not. So to start off, this is one of the trend lines that I had in mind. I shared in earlier too. Basically, it's an assumption of a breakout retest right here, and it failed. Then the Brexit came in. UK decided to be out of the European Union. The rest was history. The fall, the meltdown, and all yada yada yada. Apparently, this is where we are right now, and I'm looking at figures around trendline T6 about 30.49, probably extending down to 30.30. Interest to see if it can base out here, then prompt go in longs, moderate longs with some, gotta give some cushion on the stop losses. One of the base assumption I hear is that I was looking more deeply and came across some fascinating point and scary at the same time. But all I want to do is share some views and see how it pans out. But apparently 3000 1.30 likely to be a psychological level too. But on a trendline base analysis, I think 30.30, 30.50 is a number that can probably go and try to push in for a bounce, or we can see some probably patterns where it want to base out here and go in for some relief bounce. So let's see. This is what the daily is, plain and simple. Roughly about 30.50 down till 30.30 is supportish. So this is the level that I'm interested in. And if we do the same thing on the weekly, this is what scares me off. Basically, I'm looking at this trend line has been very smoothly coming in. Test here, connection here, to test and a retest and a decent bounce. Almost came down here when it hit down 35. Back in March or April, got another bounce here, and what it did was that it pierced in when the Brexit came in, and it managed to close above. But apparently today, when we had the opening, it gapped right underneath it and held it, and it's pushing in. So basically, now again back to the same trajectory trend line, which is pointing down. Same thing that was on the daily, and it's coming down to the same levels that's been shown on the daily. That is support for this week is about 30.50, extending down for next week to close to 1.300 levels. So that's why 3,000 to 3,050, give or take few pips here and there. That's the baseline that I'm looking at. But playout would be something in this fashion. That is, if it's triggered, and let's say it holds out. So look for a move here, then probably a bounce, and then I would expect probably another push down for next week, because we also have NFP, and then I think probably 30.30, 30.50, and some pullbacks, and then probably if the bounces remain shallow, then I think it should come down another one for close to 1.3 thousand handle. Again, if it bounces back in again, I will look to get back into the bounce on the buy side and look for a pullback towards 3,400 handle. So actual buy I think will come in if you can close above and then come back, retest, push back on the buys, and then probably go in, look for probably about 41 handle. So that gives you a plenty and ample of pips if everything, considering everything goes right. So this is something that I'm looking at, so I thought I might go and share in. Instead of sketching charts and writing down, this is the easier mode. Just do a small video and just point it out. So probably this and something like that. This is what I'm looking at on the weekly, saw what's been on the daily, and then taking further. The most scary thought that I came across was on the monthly, and this is what I came across. It's a trend line that started back in October 1986, so roughly about 30 years old trend line that came in, gave a nice bounce and trade up. Now we are under it, so still 2 more days to go, 2-3 days more to go for the month to close in. This level is pretty much about 3360-ish. So my one of the reasons that I'm interested in the long play is that if the long gets trigger in and they start working out, then bare minimum target, or I would look for possibility that the monthly would try to close back up above it, but that necessarily does not mean that it can close above the weekly, which is roughly about 80-90 pips on the higher side. But it will be fun at least to see if the monthly can go and close back above it. Scary because 30 years old trend line, and if we take the picture from this angle, then this looks like possible head left, right, or from here left, the whole section at the right, and this is probably working on a breakout. But if this is a breakout, then I don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure out where the price can go in. I mean, it could be just the beginning of the drop, and a massive drop then. So pound has got a lot to lose. So I would assume there would be some kind of momentum out here that comes in to try to push the price on the higher side. So yeah, I would can show a bounce, or it can show a basing out around, let's say ideally between 30.20 and 30.50. That would be good going, because I'm thinking of going long off from here for move at least till here. Ideally, if it closes above, then stay put for about 1,000 pips. So that's the idea. And pushing it further, I was looking at the pound yen on the same basis. This is a trend line, has not been tested, but in the same, something that I do quite oftenly. So based on the same formation, I have pretty much support on pound yen coming towards, let's say, about 132 handle. So pound going for a minor new low than the one that it has posted now, and dollar yen coming in. I will look for even bounces on the dollar yen to confirm bounces on the pound dollar, that if pound dollar needs to bounce, then all of its crosses needs to bounce, and they can all go for some, they can actually go for some relief bounces, even if they want to fall down later on. But then so these are the numbers that's been interesting, and coming up pretty nicely on the trend line. So yeah, I'm tempted. So we'll see how it goes. In pound Canadian, I was looking at it, and almost the same fashion here. We got some tested also out here. So again, a minor new low on this thing can get it pushed on the higher side. Another pair that I was looking at, non-European, was Australian dollar, and yeah, I'm just sketching it earlier. This was again a breakout, retest, and flirt around, failure. It's pulling down. So I think 7,300 is support, but it needs to come down all the way back to this breakout zone. It's been retested here, and I think you can get a retest again here. So sub 7,100 level would be exciting. That prompts me towards pound Aussie also. That here is a breakout. It did not close under, so maybe not a new low, but then a retest here. But depends if the pound bounces and the Aussie fall under 7,300, then I think pound Aussie would be a killer trade. It can, well, I don't want to go and push my luck or excite anyone, but then it shows 87, 88 getting back into play. But we'll find out how it goes. So my point of view was only a small video to recap on what I'm looking at. So hope you guys find it interesting, and disclaimer as always, trade at your own perspective and trade at your own risk. I'm not advising anything, but I'm just sharing my 2 cents. So thank you very much.